Imagine for a second staring into the eyes of some force that you know is at both times dead and alive. Imagine how it would feel to exist in a world other than the one you know. Small, insignificant, irrelevant. Maybe instead, you'd feel excited, drawn in by wonder and fresh possibilities. Or maybe something you wouldn't expect to feel is fear. Fear that you have been removed from what you knew, thrusted into a strange place. Fear that you have found your old reality, the one you previously hated, as a comforting, warm memory. This is the world of Mamoru Oshii's Angel's Egg, and this is how Angel's Egg is actually a horror film. Angel's Egg is a film that makes no sense. No, seriously, it doesn't. I mean, even Oshii himself said that he doesn't know what the film's about. But people take away different things from Angel's Egg anyways, and what they take away is valid and amazing. I mean, that's part of the whole point of cinema. But instead of interpreting meaning, that unnerving feeling that permeates its cinematography, sound, and character design is in and of itself deserving of your attention. In 1996, upon the release of Ghost in the Shell, Oshii rose to international acclaim. Many forget Angel's Egg, however, which was a film that almost cost him his career. Following two nameless characters, Angel's Egg is a journey through a barren and desolate world. But the secret to the real genre of the film lies in its influences, a comparison that is rarely drawn. Maybe to the film scholars amongst you, this may sound shocking, but Angel's Egg strikes heavy similarities to the predecessor of modern horror, German Expressionism. This artistic phenomenon was a branch of Expressionism that grew popular in the 1920s. Deeply affected by the horrors of the First World War, artists sought to break away from realism in favor of the surreal and abstract. As a style, German Expressionism can be difficult to define, but its films contain many common characteristics, like the use of shadows, as well as high contrast light and dark, warped architecture. Indeed, the heavy abstract focus of mise-en-scène and extreme camera angles seek to evoke a deep emotional stress on audience members and portray a grim reality. It could be suggested that the key focus of German Expressionism was to break away from the real and into the land of the abstract. Unfortunately, the movement couldn't fully establish itself due to the beginning of World War II, and many directors fled to Hollywood as a result. Perhaps that is why German Expressionism has had a strong impact in Western cinema, especially in horror. For example, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho and Tim Burton's Vincent both show German Expressionism's influence into contemporary horror. In Angel's Egg, we see similar visuals reflected in an archetypal example, the cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Check out how both of these scenes emphasize shadow and light. The notable use of low-key lighting in German Expressionism would go on to influence not just contemporary horror, but film noir too. Extreme camera angles were liberally used throughout German Expressionism to express a distorted and vivid world, and we see the same reflected throughout Angel's Egg. These filmic characteristics mean something to you and I. They're our lens into this strange, mysterious landscape. And something as simple as a camera angle can mean something to the world and characters too. But when we look through a window in the film, it's almost as if we're watching them. But if we're not physically in the film, then who is? Maybe instead, they're watching us. In some of my previous videos, I discuss how we don't need jump scares or monsters to be scared of what's on the screen. Sometimes it's as simple as not knowing what exactly we're scared of that makes it so scary. In this case, I'd like to draw your attention to the abstract visual imagery of the film. These objects are incomprehensible, not only to us, but maybe the characters too. But what might be scarier than traversing a wasteland that makes no sense is doing it alone. In a world full of ghosts and living machines, all we have are this man and this girl. But by the end, they're separated, and we learn of their vast insignificance, as the world is engulfed in a terrible void, and all that remains is an island of ghosts. All that remains is him on a beach, and you watching him. Now I want you to imagine going to bed tonight. You'd probably turn the lights off, get into bed, and fall asleep, like most people. Feeling comfortable in your room? Well, maybe you're feeling thirsty and you need a drink of water. So get up and go to the kitchen. As you leave your room, you might be confronted with a hallway, and while walking down it, you might want to flip the light switch. Well, what if it wasn't there? What would you feel if you looked behind you and your room was gone, and all that was left was an endless, dark hallway? Even if no one was there, what if someone was? And what if they were watching you? For a split second, you just don't know. You don't know where you are. Suddenly, you realize that the darkness means you could be anywhere. Back in bed, it was dark too, but you knew you were in bed. Here, there is nothing but darkness. That is the essence of cosmic horror, and that is precisely what Angel's Egg actually is: a festival of the unknown. The genre that unpacks humanity's place in the grand scheme of the universe and forces you to realize how insignificant and how utterly small humanity actually is. Indeed, the essence of cosmic horror could be summarized by the reality that we are but one species of animal among thousands, struggling for survival on a planet among millions, in a universe whose virtually infinite reaches are beyond our meager ability to grasp or understand. Deeply fused with science fiction, cosmic horror is prevalent still in modern cinema, in works like Prometheus, Event Horizon, and Annihilation. You might be most familiar with cosmic horror because of the works of H.P. Lovecraft, who essentially invented the genre as we see it today. If you've seen Angel's Egg, you might remember an extraterrestrial, almost eldritch machine. It resembles a giant floating eye, and it is clear that the construct is capable of great power. However, you, the viewer, nor the characters are ever given an explanation for its purpose. That's because we might not be privy to that information, let alone if we could even understand it. We're simply left to look at it because we don't have the privilege of understanding it, and maybe our characters don't either. Its existence clearly alludes to a terrifying, mysterious power, a clear nod to the core mechanism of cosmic horror. In the face of this construct, our male character seems to still retain his agency. Throughout the movie, he seems to be on a quest for something. But what? If he found what he was looking for, it would be this scene. For a second, it seems like he's confused. Or maybe he's finally accepting some kind of revelation and subsequently having his reality shattered. Do we understand it? Probably not. We don't have to, because we probably wouldn't get it anyways. In the end, this movie will always be an enigma. Many claim to understand its meaning and purpose, but maybe that's besides the point. Instead, Angel's Egg is scary because we don't know. We'll never know, and we aren't supposed to. Just like the many mysteries of the cosmos, there seems to be some many things outside of our reach. And maybe that's scary. Scary because it's outside of our control and outside of our understanding. Indeed, it seems like the barren, broken wastes of Angel's Egg should scare you. But it should also give you hope. Our characters, despite their mysterious, overwhelmingly lonely existences, never lose their agency. They solitarily march onwards, like humanity itself amongst the stars, undeterred by the cosmic horror that surrounds us. Yes, the cosmos are grand and unforgiving. But our characters, despite living in a world where humanity seems to have ended entirely, are living proof that it simply won't. Humans have the improbable nature of doing whatever it takes to get us where we need to go. And if this lonely, lost wanderer will forever be marooned on a beach in the void and still be okay, maybe you will be too.